Huffington Post says she wins by 5 points.
Oh, I don't know. My friend at Slate says she'll win by 3.
Oh, well, she'll definitely win the Electoral College, for sure. But I guess there's like a nightmare scenario where he wins the popular vote.
Really? That's your nightmare scenario, huh?
Because of shifting demographics, there might never be another Republican president in this country.
Word. You ever been around this country before?
And we project Kentucky will go to Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, of course he won Kentucky. I mean, that's where all the racists are.
All of them are in Kentucky?
Oh, she got Vermont.
Oh, snap! Vermont! 3 electoral votes, and that's a power grab.
All she has to do is come back and win Wisconsin, come back and win Michigan, come back and win Pennsylvania.
And some of the counties, the urban counties, they're so... Black people vote late.
You never know, guys. Alaska's still out there.
We're now calling Alaska for Donald Trump.
Oh, my God. I think America is racist.
A little election levity, courtesy of Saturday Night Live. Welcome back to America Talks Live. I'm Bill Tucker, filling in for Steve Malzberg today. Rejoining us on our panel, Margaret Howell, international reporter. And I am pleased to welcome into the show Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. He is the syndicated radio show host, president of BOND, Brotherhood, Organization of a New Destiny, and author of The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. So let's start with Donald Trump last night on 60 Minutes when he was asked in very direct fashion by Lesley Stahl about reports that his supporters were out committing acts of racism. Here's what he had to say.
I'm very surprised to hear that.
I
hate to hear that. I mean, I hate to hear it.
But you do hear it.
I don't hear it.
You're not seeing
I
this?
saw 1 or 2 instances.
On social
But I think
media?
it's a very small amount. Again, I think it's the media.
Do you want to say anything to those people?
I would say don't do it. That's terrible. Because I'm going to bring this country together.
They're harassing Latinos, Muslims.
I am so saddened to hear that. And I say stop it. If it helps. I will say this, and I'll say it right to the camera, stop it.
That, for me, was a really particularly powerful moment, but I don't know if it resonated with everyone. Margaret, welcome back. Reverend Jesse, we'll get you into here now. What did you think of that particular moment in the interview last night?
Well, it was clear to me that Lesley Stahl was in a lot of pain. She's having grief over the loss of this presidential election. And I think when she made up, I believe she made up a lie that Donald Trump supporters are now attacking Hillary's supporters. And I think she just made it up once again, trying to embarrass Donald Trump, just as they did during the campaign in Chicago when they were accusing Donald Trump's supporter of attacking people. We now know that those people were from the Democratic Party. It was not Donald Trump. And secondly, I want to say that there is no such thing as racism. The word racism is an illusion. It's been made up by the race hustlers and the Democratic Party in order to keep black people angry, to control them, and keep white Americans afraid in order to gain power and wealth. It was clear that Lesley was not happy about Donald Trump winning the presidency last night.
Well, she probably wasn't. She probably will never admit it. And you and I'll get back to the issue of racism in a minute. But Margaret, what did you think? Was that enough from Trump? Were you even surprised that that was his position?
Oh, I thought that he was very appropriate in that interview. Lesley Stahl should be ashamed of herself. She's spouting this ridiculous mainstream media narrative that frankly isn't true. And she's not the first one to do this. She's one of dozens and dozens that can't let it go. The reality is, and this is what I found on the ground just from being in protest and seeing these up close, social justice warriors are some of the most violent, intolerant, it's a form of fascism, frankly. And the Love Trump Hates movement, who knew they could be so violent, frankly? I think that the question was misdirected. She asked him, she said, well, what about your supporters attacking Latinos and Muslims? And that's just I mean, I have no words. It's
Well,
a continuation of.
Honestly, you know, but look, what it was a new variation off the old question, which goes along the lines of, so Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, when did you stop beating your wife? It was already loaded with the presupposition that he in fact can't answer. But it does put us on a really serious topic, because there is a lot of vitriol, a lot of hatred, and most of it, from what I see and from my experience, has been coming from the left about this election. How do we move forward? How do we get to a new tomorrow, if you will, Reverend? Can we get over this? Can we heal ourselves?
We can. If you notice, Leslie didn't really congratulate Donald Trump. She wasn't happy about it as a person would normally be. And the way we move forward is we got to enforce the laws now. When these protesters are out there burning and destroying property, they need to be arrested. We need strong law enforcement, unlike what Obama has allowed to happen over the last 8 years. He wanted this type of destruction to happen. And Donald Trump needs to just do what he said he said that he will do. Put a big, beautiful wall around the borders, deport illegal aliens, especially the criminals first. He's going to lower the taxes, which will allow black people in the rest of America to start small businesses if they want to. We can bring more money home, take care of our families. He's going to get rid of all those restrictions that prevents that from happening, and he's going to protect us from our enemies. I guarantee you, and I believe in the next 4 years, you're going to have those same Democrats who are acting out right now supported Donald Trump in 4 years.
Well, from your mouth to God's ears for the moment, because I don't think we have to be a country where we all agree on everything. I do think we'd have to be a country that is engaged in conversation and dialogue with each other. And I think that's what's happened in the last 8 years, is that dialogue has gone away. It has not happened. And Margaret, you do a lot of reporting, as you mentioned earlier, on the border and immigration issues. Do you think we've got a way forward here where everybody can, look, just get off the streets and stop having a temper tantrum? Can we just move forward in that kind of direction maybe for a second?
I want to believe that the people protesting and rioting, they're clearly just a little brainwashed. They've been lied to repeatedly by mainstream media, and they bought into it. I think that we're going to see a turnaround, as your panelist said, with the economy, and that's going to change a lot of hearts and minds concerning Trump. I mean, you don't detox this sort of brainwashing overnight, and I think that it's going to start with the economy. And regarding immigration, that is a serious issue for a lot of us. We've seen what illegal immigration has done to our communities on the ground, to local communities, and I think that Trump really has a heart for the American people, and it is America first. There's so many wonderful aspects of his presidency that have already begun. World War III has been canceled, folks. It does look like our country will come together based on.
I will tell you, I agree with you both in the sense that the economy is an antidote to a lot of things. Yes. Jobs is an antidote to almost anything that ails us, as a matter of fact. And weirdly, the immigration issue is center in that issue, because what has been allowed to happen by Republicans and Democrats, this is a bipartisan issue, is that we've flooded the low-end, low-wage into the market and driven wages lower, so that there is no longer an expectation by employers that they have to pay an even market wage, whatever that might be. They can go out and find some guy standing on a street corner and pay them even less. We've seen it in the tech industry, and the tech industry is having its own little heart attack right now, realizing they can't import cheap foreign labor. So maybe you're right, Margaret, and Reverend, I'd like you to weigh in on this. Is this really where it's at, the economy and the jobs? Could that just do it for us?
Absolutely. You know, when people are not able to take care of their families, they have to pay for college education for their children, they're bringing home less money, you're not a happy camper, no matter what else is happening in your life. And under Barack Obama, the wages have gone way down. People are working harder, but they're bringing home less money. And in the black community, I have to tell you, I've been working in the black community by way of my organization for the last 26 years. Because of the illegal aliens coming in, they're taking the day labor work away, contracting jobs from blacks who will ordinarily or normally work those jobs. Every day in the Los Angeles area, there are fights in the public school system between blacks and Hispanics because the illegal aliens are taking over the educational system here, and blacks are being pushed out. And they have not had anyone, any politician really, up until Donald Trump came along, to acknowledge what was happening to them. So once he gets in there, once he's sworn in, he take care of the illegal alien situation, bring back the job, you're going to see a major change in our country between blacks and whites and Hispanics and others as well.
I think you're absolutely right, Reverend. And on that note, we're going to get to end it. Margaret, Reverend, thank you so much for being here with us. We're going to continue this topic of Trump and the incoming president-elect and look at his conservative principles in an attempt to unite the country. Navy SEAL Carl Higbie will answer that and other questions, so keep it right here.